qualifying rained out, as Bill told you. Field lined up according to the rule book, top 35 by order of owner points.
We see Truex and Busch, both those guys we told you have won 4 times. Greg Biffle on the inside of row 3, he's won 4 times this year.
Kevin Harvick, defending champion of this race. Bobby Hamilton Jr. will not start from row number 4. His team changed an engine this morning. A couple of engines in the 2 days they've been here. He'll be going to the back of the field.
Back in row 7 on the inside, Stacy Compton and Tim Fedewa. Kenny Wallace on the outside of row 8, and David Stremme outside of row 9. Johnny Sauter, the guy who kind of dominated the win last week, or dominated the race in RP, would finish 2nd spot.
And Robbie Gordon, another that will go to the back because of an engine change. While we look at the rest of the starting field, Wally's got the radio microphone in hand. Who are you going to talk to?
I'm going to talk to Matt Kenseth back in 35th. Matt, this is Wally up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Gotcha, Wally.
Yeah, you guys didn't get much race practice. How did you come up with the setup that you have right now?
Good question. You know, we did get practice in the morning, and we decided to work on all race trim in the morning, so we didn't do any qualifying stuff. But we were kind of testing stuff. So the setup in the car we ended up right now is a little bit of a compromise between what we tested in the morning we thought was okay and the stuff we ran at California and what we ran here last year.
Well, at least where you're starting, you got to be kind of happy about this competition. Yellow they're going to throw. At least that races some of the distance for you between you and the leader.
Yeah, that'll be good, and hopefully the car will be under us from the start here, and we'll be able to make some hay in the beginning and get up through there. So it's a long ways to go, and you know, historically there's not a lot of caution, so that'll definitely help.
All right, good luck, Matt.
All right, thanks.
Let's check down on pit road. Marty, lead us off.
Alan, if confidence and momentum count for anything, Jason Leffler should be the runaway winner today. The hottest guy in the Busch Series, 3 straight third-place finishes for this team. And yesterday in the hour-and-a-half practice, this team practiced 56 laps. Jason said the car very good, especially on the long runs. Competition caution should put them in the window to make one more pit stop in this race and go all the way. Dave?
Marty, Bobby Hamilton Jr., one of last year's contenders for the championship, is again having trouble today with the motor. Alan mentioned that at the outset. They've changed the motor again, violating the 1 engine per weekend rule, and they will start at the back of this field. It's been a tough year for him already, and today another huge challenge for Hamilton. Matt?
Dave, you would think that Casey King would enter Michigan with loads of confidence and really jacked up about his chances today to go to victory lane after finishing 2nd here in his last 2 NASCAR starts. But he told me that after the shortened practice, which the car was very tight, they have made a number of changes. Cautiously optimistic about his chances. He told me that he'll know how good of a race car they really have before the first lap is complete, and then they'll know how much they have to work on that race car to get it to victory lane today. He rolls off from the 10th position. Alan?
Okay. So some stories from some drivers who hope to contend in today's race as they complete the first of 3 parade and pace laps they'll make. There are the numbers on the day. The 2-mile track with 250 miles to be completed, so 125 laps, and that pit window always seems to be so big at this racetrack.
It really does, because, okay, it leaves up 125 laps, 105. So we see the pit window, 48 to 52. So it's 52 and a half.
How many spots do Mark and Rusty and those guys need to make up before lap 20?
You need to hustle. You need to try to get by as many cars as possible. And then when that yellow comes out, then you erase that gap. But I think it's real important. They've got to get busy here in 20 laps.
And then all the cars will be making pit stops, I would assume, at 20. And if there is some caution flags later on, then caution flag laps, they will try to make it on one more stop.
Championship leader Martin Truex on the front row with his title rival Kyle Busch as the field comes off of turn 4. Great crowd on hand here in Michigan today. They sold out of tickets for the Cup race tomorrow for the 28th straight time. They sold out of parking for campers and motorhomes on Monday last week, and they've got acres and acres of it here. The fans have come in from the campgrounds. They're on their feet now, and the pace cars off for the NASCAR Busch Series at Michigan. We're underway.
David Green.
Look at Kevin Harvick drive to the inside and take the lead.
Well, maybe not.
Well, yeah.
See one car smoking in the back of the field. That is Steve Grissom in the 24. He is being black flagged by NASCAR. Former series champion with a tough start to his day.
And he told me yesterday he was concerned about the engine in the car.
Truex leads lap 1. Greg Biffle inside of Kevin Harvick for second. That little 3-wide racing farther back. We'll see plenty of that over the weekend here at Michigan.
They're starting to get the single file up front.
Problem with that 3-wide racing in the middle of the front stretch is when you get to the exit of turn 2, the momentum wants to carry everybody to the same one spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, that definitely slows those 3 guys down compared to the guys that are running single file in front of you.
Jason Leffler, 00. Casey Mears in the 1. Marty's done more on Jason Leffler, who's dropped back a little bit. Marty?
I think I might have put the jinx on him, Alan, because he had a problem before the green flag even dropped. Radio problems for Jason Leffler. He can hear the crew. They can't hear him. If you're going to have a radio problem, that's about the worst way to have it. Now, BP, do you remember your hand signals? What are they?
Well, if you
tap the door.
Tap the door. It's loose. Tap the roof. It's tight.
Very good. And that's what they've gone over with him. Spotter Eddie DeHaant's going to do the best he can, trying to guide Jason through the field and calling from the pit box. Robert Booty Barker.
Got a car sideways. Michael Waltrip collected Matt Kenseth.
Came right up in the front of Matt Kenseth. Who was that?
That's Tracy Hines in the
6 car.
6 Ragu car. Michael Waltrip.
Go ahead and get on down here. Get ready, guys.
He's got a flat left front. And Matt Kenseth.
I'm surprised he's able to drive out of that grass as much rain as we had yesterday.
Matt Kenseth's got a lot of left front.
Yeah. That's the problem of starting in the back.
So caution out early in the race. Michael Waltrip getting spun around or spinning around, one of the two. And collecting Matt Kenseth in his skid down the front stretch. Let's see what happened.
See the 12 car, Tim Feto up on the very top. 59 of Stacy Compton in the middle, and Michael just by himself. Around he goes, and that's due from lack of practice.
Car got loose on him, and he was gonna get away with, I think, hitting anything. But unfortunately came right up in front of Matt. Matt had no place to go.
And we're under caution for the first time in the Cabela's 250 at Michigan International Speedway. Couple of cars taking fuel only. Mark Martin and Casey Kane. Kane now leading, Martin second. Fuel only on their pit stop. Then Truex comes off third. Also Kenny Wallace with right side tires only on his pit stop. He is up to 5th place. Checking to see where Jason Leffler ended up after making that extra pit stop. He's back to 32nd from 5th before the stop. Ouch.
Truex is coming. Good run off of turn 2 that lap.
Meanwhile, Mark Martin is trying to take a look on the inside of Casey Kane for the lead.
And here comes Kyle Busch around Truex. Looking for a spot on Martin. Man, 4th to 2nd and looking for the lead.
Man,
that was a good run.
That was impressive.
But that low line's going to be tough.
What about the 20 lap difference in tires here?
Well, you'd think that Kyle Busch would have a huge advantage with the fresh tires, but, you know, Casey Kane, the 38, keeping him on the bottom of the racetrack, is going to ruin the benefit of those new tires in just a few laps. But Kyle Busch does go to the front.
So new leader and evening up the bonus points where his fight for the championship with Martin Truex is concerned. New to NASCAR, driver gets 5 points for leading a lap during the race. Not every time he leads, but if you lead a lap, you collect 5 bonus points. And with Busch in the 5 and Truex in the 8, now both having led, that number is even on the day. Did not take Kyle Busch long to go from 4th to 1st after that pit stop. Marty?
Yeah, and I think you're seeing the benefit of the new tires for Kyle Busch. He told me right before he got in the race car, we're not very good in the short run, but better on the long run. So I'm kind of surprised they're able to run this well. But Kyle said, we'll be better in the longer run. Some guys will pass us. We'll lose some time. We'll lose some ground, but we'll get them back.
And that's exactly what happened on the start of the race, Marty. And you're right. As the race wore on, Kyle Busch was getting faster and faster.
Now Truex, the 8 car, trying to get by Casey Kane, and he just about has him. Well, not quite.
Martin Truex Jr. coming into today's race with 4 wins. He's the championship leader, 15 top 10 finishes in 22 races, led 13. And his last couple of weeks have both been top 5 results. Trying to get that spot away for second place, Matt.
Still working the bottom, trying to take over that second spot with a 38, looking out the window on the high side. Now they made that track bar and air pressure adjustment. They are telling Martin, your car is a rocket off the corners. That's where you are really making a lot of headway. We told you before that stop, he was extremely free. That's why he had to pick and choose where he could get that car so he would not have major issues, but it is good now.
Farther back in that picture, you're going to see the 1 car coming around the outside. Casey Mears trying to make up some of that lost ground.
That's Robbie Gordon directly in front of the 1 car. 1 is Casey Mears. And right behind Casey Mears, Kevin Harvey. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. is now back up in the middle of things.
Casey Mears running up as high as 2nd earlier. Falling back to 11th on the pit stop.
Hey, he's going to try to pass him on the inside like Kenny Wallace.
Remember, Kenny just got right side tires on his pit stop, so. Oh, who was that?
Who's that in front of there? Robbie Gordon. Real loose.
Dave, got something on Kenny for us?
Yeah, he made a 2-tire change, Alan. Made an air and track bar adjustment because he was loose into the corner, tied off the corner, and they're still very, very tight. That's how Casey Mears was able to get around the yellow 23 of Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace, well, it's a group that just needs a good finish. They just have had a season that hasn't lived up to their expectations, and they're working on it. Kyle Busch out in front of Martin Truex by nearly 2 seconds now as those guys got racing side by side for second behind him. He left him. Now, how about Rusty Wallace? Following Mark Martin's progress into a smaller extent, Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s from the back of the pack. Rusty started back there with Mark in 42nd. He's up to 17th. That's a lap car he's passing, the 74. Not come through the traffic as well as Martin has, Matt.
He sure has, and he's mired back in 17th. He's just battling a loose condition. It's going to be a work in progress today for Rusty in that 66 car, tightening it up.
I talked to Barry Dodson and Blake Bainbridge this morning, the car chief, crew chief on the 66. They tested here and felt like they were going to be in really good shape because they had a day of testing where some of the other guys only had 10 or 15 laps, but hasn't worked out so far. Maybe they'll get it before the day is over.
Last time Rusty Wallace ran a double-dip weekend was back in 1989. He ran a Busch Series race in 1997. That was a solo race. Remember, Roger Penske, that owned his team at that time, owned the California Speedway. It was new. They had a Busch Series standalone weekend in October of that year. Rusty went out and ran it. The last time he ran both Saturday and Sunday was October 7th and 8th, 1989 at Charlotte. It's been a while.
He may like it. He may do more of it.
Yeah, that's right. He may like it. Right now, he's behind the middle Wallace boy, Mike Wallace, in the 4.
Coming up to pass younger brother. 14 guys in today's race running both races. We talked about this earlier, just touched on it a little bit. the fairness of running both ways. I hear more and more and more Cup drivers talking about wanting to find some sponsors and race on Saturday as well as Sunday.
And there's been that long time discussion, should the Nextel drivers be allowed to come over in the NASCAR Busch Series? And you know, my belief is that yes, some, but there needs to be a limit to it. Today we have, what, 14 Nextel Cup drivers in this race? I think that's too many.
I don't know. I think they should. I don't think there should be any cap. I think a lot of the big reason why all these fans are here today and people are watching this race today to watch the Cup drivers in the Busch Series. So, and also for the Busch guys, they got to measure themselves up against the best. And
that's why I said they should have Cup drivers in there to measure themselves up, to learn how to be better race car drivers. But you can't have 20 Nextel Cup drivers in the race, I don't think. Again, that's just my opinion. And I tell you what, Hamilton Jr. right now is really fast. He goes by Casey Mears, who looked to be the fastest car prior to that caution flag.
Casey had the hand out the window saying, go ahead on the inside. Bobby Hamilton Jr. on yet another engine.
These guys have had a lot of engine problems this year.
I went by the race car this morning about 10 a.m., 3 hours before race time. There was nothing under the hood. No engine, no transmission. Just the lines and wires hanging there. And Harold Holly, the crew chief, standing there. I mean, his face was so red, I thought if I'd cracked an egg over his head, I could have fried it on there.
What happened to Jamie McMurray, Matt?
Ray Hall, crew member on the 41 team, looked at me and with his hands gave me the signal for it broke. The motor is done on the 41. They're packing things up here in the 41 pit.
So another one of the double-duty guys whose Saturday will be shorter than expected. Jamie McMurray out, joining Matt Kenseth in the garage area. Martin Truex with the long view ahead to try and find leader Kyle Busch. Pace car's off. And Nemechek will lead him up to speed.
Green flag, green flag.
He gets just tremendous restarts in that 5 car. Just tremendous restarts.
All right, let's check some of the strategy that has shuffled up that lead order from the last set of pit stops. Dave, Mike Waller. Well, wait a minute here. 3 wide.
Biffle's 60 car stuck his nose in there between the 27 and the 74.
Hamilton has got a run coming off that corner. Couldn't go anywhere, but boy, he sure got a run off of turn 4.
And for the lead.
Well, it doesn't take Busch long to get that 5 car back in front. Wow.
There's a difference between their cars. Tires. Joe Nemechek, no tires on that last pit stop. Fuel only. That's what got him the lead. Another one that got fuel only, Mike Bliss, being overtaken in this group. Johnny Sauter in the 27 being overtaken.
Here goes Biffle by the, I guess that's the 32 of Strimmy. Wow, there's a wad back there, isn't it?
And I guess what they're thinking about not taking tires, Benny, is they get a yellow, another yellow, they can get the set of tires where these other guys can't.
As Alan told you, they're only allowed to change the tires 3 times on the caution flag.
And they've used 2 sets of those 3 already in the race today.
Some of the cars have, that's correct.
All right, we were talking strategy. Another guy with a little trick on pit road to get some track position. Dave?
That was Mike Wallace, and what they did is crew chief Tony Lambert told me they watched the 9 car of Mark Martin. They saw that the last time he did not make a tire change, and he didn't lose that much. At the outset he did, which Mike expects to do, but then he kind of leveled up. That's what they went with. That's what they hope happens for the 4 car.
So Mike Wallace hanging in there now in 8th place. Getting shuffled just a little bit on the older tires. Is the term you used there, a wad of cars?
Yeah. Gag. Ever see Mark Martin as he tries to work his way back to the front. Now I'm assuming he changed tires on this stop.
Yes, he did.
So he ought to be good to go for a while now.
They came in with 80 laps to go. So everybody has to make one more pit stop for fuel. And that last set of tires. The timing of that last pit stop, and if there's another caution after that, that's where the guys with the extra set of tires could get an advantage.
Right.
But it's a gamble.
It's a big gamble.
If you don't get that late caution, and how many cars are on the lead lap, and how much track position do you give up, and can you make up by taking the extra pit stop?
And I tell you what, the crew chiefs in the NASCAR Busch Series, they really, their job to me seems to be a little bit tougher than the crew chiefs in the NASCAR Nextel Cup, because of the fact they got to figure out how to use their tires under the caution flag. Nextel Cup, the caution flag comes out, they just automatically put on 4 tires.
So Mark Martin by Johnny Sauter in the 27, Mark in the 9, so that gives Mark 7th place. Casey Mears by Sauter to 8th. And who's that losing a couple of spots? So is that David Green down on the bottom, 37?
Yes, it is.
It's like he lost momentum on the bottom now. He said, okay, I got to get back to the top, get my momentum going again. Rusty Wallace being overtaken by the Truex car, number 8.
Now there's the guy that led in the early going, and he lost a bunch of ground on that last pit stop, all the way back to 18th place. And that's actually 5 spots farther back than he restarted. He took the restart in 13th.
Looks like he's passing some cars now, though.
Rusty Wallace, Kenny Wallace, 74 car Tony Raines in that group is not on the lead lap. He's in 34th place, 1 lap down.
Got to get all 3 of those Wallace brothers together, running together, so we can point that out to you. Kenny in the 23, Rusty 66, and Mike in 4. Okay, there's 4.
And you see Jason Leffler in the 00 trying to make his way back toward the front. Remember, he had the extra pit stop to repair the fender damage.
Something happened to Nemechek. He came off turn 4 and just dove to the bottom of the racetrack, and now we see the smoke.
I would say blew up.
That's what it sure looks like. Engine problem for the 87.
Turning these engines, a lot of RPMs here at Michigan.
That wasn't good. It broke something pretty big.
Matt?
Well, you heard him say on the radio that he broke something really big inside that engine. It's not been a good day, even though he's running up front. He could not hear the team. He was told to stay out under that last caution. He pitted anyway, so that's why they just topped him off. But bad luck this year for Joe Nemechek. Still does not have a top 5 finish.
Caution flag is out to check for debris and oil from the 87 car. And the yellow flag waving for the 4th time in this race.
I'd like to have the in-car audio of this one.
And he comes off the corner, and Biffle pulls up behind him and
almost got run over.
Yeah, he did.
So you're thinking the in-car audio, we'd hear a lot of clunking and banging and thunking?
It'd be ugly.
Yeah, it would be ugly.
Caution flag out here at the Michigan International Speedway for Joe Nemechek's problem.
Green flag.
Now, of the guys who stopped initially under the yellow, Martin Truex Jr., the highest contending car, and he is in 15th place on this restart. I think it's going to get interesting.
So do I. See Mark Martin, he's back in the 5th position as he tries to chase down the Casey Kane Dodge, 38 Dodge.
Mirrors up there pretty high, working a real high groove.
So the leader is Kyle Busch. 2nd is Greg Biffle. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is 3rd. Casey Kane is 4th, and Mark Martin is 5th. And Wally, we were looking at the 25 car of Hamilton Jr. when he came by, and boy, that hole in that windshield is, I mean, it's big. Look at that thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a hole in the windshield, but the indentation where the piece of debris hit.
Yeah, it's a big mark. Boy, if that was a piece of lead, that would have been pretty scary.
Yeah, disaster. That's the word Harold Holly used, and I'll agree with that word. Marty?
Well, the engine VP for these guys has been excellent today, and that's a big relief to Harold Holly. As we talked about, this is the third engine for Bobby Hamilton Jr. this weekend. They had Jason Keller's backup engine, which was a Yates engine in the car this morning. They took it out at 9:30. They got an engine from Matt Kenseth. That was his backup engine, put it in. They were the last car through tech. They got out to the line 15 minutes before the race started. A big relief as you see him working that bottom line that this engine has even lived through the day, much less has been so good and so powerful.
Changing an engine, even though it's a Ford to a Ford, from one builder to another is not as simple as it sounds.
Yeah, there are different hookups and lengths of, you got hoses to match, and it isn't something you just plug in.
No, it really isn't. Some of them mount the engine on the side of the block. Some have front mounts.
Replumbing everything.
And Kyle Busch is just saying, see you to these guys. Pretty good battle for second, third, fourth, fifth, but the leader, Kyle Busch, is already a second and a half in front of Biffle.
I'm not counting out this 9 car yet. Mark Martin, if you weren't with us earlier, started at the back of the field in 43rd place. He blasted through to 15th by lap 20. Fell back. Sorry, while I hesitated just to check my notes for a second. Fell back by not taking tires on that competition yellow at lap 22, which cost him some track position. Now he's trying to make it back to the front again.
Doing a pretty good job as he tries to get by Casey Kane for the 4th position. That's Mark in the number 9, the Pennzoil car.
Mark Martin, the all-time leading winner in NASCAR Busch Series. 23% career winning average in this series. 45 wins in 200 starts.
Man, Hamilton Jr., once they run a few laps, he goes to the center of the corner so fast, it's unbelievable. Right on the bottom of the racetrack. And Greg Biffle was saying, why did they give him that engine, one of my engines?
Wow.
For second place.
Right there, he made the pass, BP, right where you're talking about, right through the center.
So Biffle shuffled back to third. Casey Kane and Mark Martin following him there. But all that racing for second position has allowed Kyle Busch to get into another area code.
Watch the 25 just drive through the center of the corner so fast. He might be able to do something with Kyle Busch. I'm not sure any of these other cars can.
People better be careful not to leave that high line open there.
Well, how about a run for second?
Come on, what happened here?
That was pretty strong.
Hamilton Jr. up high in the 25. Try to fend off Greg Biffle. And now Mark Martin trying to shuffle Casey Kane out of line. That'd be 3 Fords in that outside line, and the lone Dodge, Casey Kane.
I think Mark will get the spot here because, wow. He didn't give him much room. He came right down on Casey, but Casey Kane looks like he needs that high groove, and Mark got up on the high side. Passed him pretty easy.
Tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with Robbie Gordon as he comes up and tries to get by Casey Kane.
55 car. Started back in 23rd place. Robbie Gordon, of course, this is his own race team that he operates. Kind of, they start off the year pretty solidly, and then they hit a struggle in mid-season. They've been out of the top 10 in 6 of the last 7 races that they've run.
Wow, that's cutting it close there, Robbie.
And Kevin Harvick joining the chase in the 21. Harvick, the defending champion of this race. Talking about Robbie Gordon. Marty, got some more on him for us?
Well, they just had a terrific run, as you mentioned. Started 23rd. They've made one adjustment to the car all day long. Robbie was a little tight. They took a ½ pound out of the right front, and that was it. This car has been awesome for Robbie today. Took him to a 5th place finish at Nashville. Looking for more today.
Oh, Casey Kane.
Mark Martin is right on the back bumper of Bobby Hamilton Jr., the 25. Looked like he tried to get alongside up in 3 and 4, but couldn't quite make it. Backed up. Watch him just turn that car left.
Boy, he sure can cut that car, Mark Martin. But he gets down on the bottom. It's very difficult to pass a guy getting off the corner, being on the inside.
Both of these two racing for second, 4 6/10 seconds behind Kyle Busch.
Oh, Kyle is just, he just said, see you guys. It's unbelievable how fast he is.
Look at this. There's your leader.
Somewhere back there second.
Yeah. Back over about Ann Arbor way. Okay, so here we go with a restart at 34 to go. Casey Mears leading, Kenny Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Justin Labonte, Robert Presley, Jimmy Kitchens. Those guys.
Casey Mears starts easing in this throttle and trying to come down to a very fast start and stay up so he can get down on the outside with no second gear.
Robbie
Blocking going on?
block. Yeah, that's Robbie. He always does that.
Kyle Busch in the 5, races dominant car, looking to make it up through traffic. And for the lead, Kenny Wallace, trying Casey Mears.
I just think that the tire situation is going to play in really in the last 10 or 15 laps to go. And these guys up front are going to be sitting ducks.
New leader, Kenny Wallace out in front.
I thought we could do it, boys. This is for y'all.
So Wallace leads, Mears second, Michael Waltrip third, but the man on the move, Robbie Gordon and Kyle Busch.
And Kyle Busch in that 5 car he is coming fast.
I thought he had Robbie Gordon passed down in 1 and 2, but it was not the case. Robbie Gordon's able to hold him off. Oh, there could be some pushing and shoving.
Justin Labonte trying Michael Waltrip for third.
Kyle Busch goes to the bottom, and it sticks. Wow, that was a nice pass.
That is a strong race car.
That is a nice pass.
Working on Justin Labonte. And that'll be for third spot. Marty?
Well, Justin Labonte's trying the same strategy, Alan, that he used at Chicago. Bryant Frazier with a little poke from Dad Terry. Labonte said, let's stay out for fuel mileage. They can make it all the way driving the same car he won the race with at Chicago, that 44 Busch.
By the way, Martin Truex, Matt did update us during the commercial, fuel only on the 8 car. He did stop under the caution, but just took fuel. There may be no stop in that 5 car today. Kyle Busch for second.
Fast.
He is wicked fast.
And working on Kenny Wallace for the race lead.
Enjoy the lead, Kenny, because it's about over.
Kyle Busch, when he goes by, will get on the radio and tell his guys, this is for you guys. Martin, this 5 car is unbelievably fast.
BP, I think the word is awesome. And Kyle told me before he got in the race car today, we have some unfinished business with this car. It's the one they took to Chicago, led a whole bunch of the race with, and then lost a cylinder late in the race. Still finished 12th in that race car. But Kyle said, this race car owes us one. I know it's good. I know it can make it to victory lane. And it looks pretty awesome right now, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Ninth to first, 4 laps.
That's a pretty good race car.
It's okay if you're Kyle Busch.
Whoa, that was close. Robbie Gordon.
Justin Labonte.
Yeah, they were leaning on each other there in turns 1 and 2.
They were doing their square dance. Here comes Mark Martin, Casey Kane, Martin Truex trying to drive on through. Championship leader Truex trailing his rival for the title, Kyle Busch. The difference between them has grown and then shrunk again over the last month or so.
And look at that. Kyle Busch ran 180, and the next fastest time was under 178. Wow. Second spot.
Here's Mark Martin going to make it 3 wide.
Wow.
And that's the newness of tires. Helps a lot.
So Mark in the 9 to 2nd, Casey Mears in the 1 to 3rd, Robbie Gordon 55 to 4th, and Kenny Wallace shuffled back to 5th in the 23. It's your championship leader, Truex. How about Kenny Wallace, Dave?
Well, even though he's getting shuffled back, this could very well be his best finish here at Michigan. In 7 starts, 18th has been the best he's done. So their call to stay out there at the end, a pretty good one for them. And really, they only thought they'd have to hold off the 5 car. But Wally, you said it, newness of tires and the guys coming through right now is what's getting Kenny.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time, and it's going to get worse for Kenny because as the longer he runs on these tires, like I said, the last 10 laps, there's going to be a big difference in lap times from the guys that got tires and the guys that did not.
So Kenny shuffled another spot as Truex goes by. Wallace back to 7th. Jason Leffler set to challenge him there. Rally of the day, I think, goes to that 00 car. No radio communication from driver to crew. Pit road incident earlier. Damaged the fender. Dropped him to 32nd. He's back into the top 10. Marty, quite a day.
It's been eventful, I'll say that, Alan. And Eddie DeHaan and Robert Booty Barker deserve a big pat on the back after this one. They have had to guess every time. And under caution, the fact that we've had so many caution laps has really helped these guys out because Jason will swerve the car when they guess right as to what's wrong with the car. That's really helped them out. The car's been loose for most of the day. In that earlier wreck, it's now towed out as well. Jason has done an outstanding job with a car that's not handling that great.
Imagine having hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in a race car and a race to come to the weekend, and you're playing a game of guess the handling characteristic. Hey, he swerved. We got it right. Jason Leffler 3rd in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship standings, coming off 3 straight third-place finishes, but he's 374 points behind the top 2 with 12 races to go. What do you think, Jason? Can you get there?
We're not giving up. We're going to run every race like we have been, and then let's go win. And if we don't win, we finish in the top 5. So hopefully we can do that today. I would say we're doing the chase for the cup like they're doing over there. It would make we would be more excited about that since we're so far behind in points in 3rd spot. But we're not out of it by no means.
And I tell you what, that's exactly what the Busch Series needs right now for that sidebar of a chase for the Busch Series. To qualify the top 10 cars and then start over again.
I agree.
You see their 3rd spot with 383 points out of 1st.
And meantime, the lead would shrink at the conclusion of the day if Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. finish where they are now. The lead coming into the race, 117 points. It was 142 starting the race in Indianapolis 2 weeks ago. Tighten up. Race 4 position, 55 and 8. Robbie Gordon, Martin Truex Jr. This is for 5th.
On board with Martin Truex. Take a look down at the bottom. Got some momentum, but this is where it runs out right about here.
When you can't move up the racetrack and use that entire speedway to accelerate off the corner, it's so difficult to make that pass.
Robbie Gordon's best ever finish in a NASCAR Busch Series race, a pair of 3rd place runs. Daytona back in February and at Texas Motor Speedway early in the spring. So Robbie in contention perhaps if he can move up a little bit in these last couple laps to equal that best ever run. Marty?
Yeah, he finished 6th here last August. Alan trying to do a little bit better than that, as you talked about on the last pit stop. Again, no changes for the 55 car. When he came off pit road, told the guys, thanks a lot. That's what I needed. He gave him a good stop, got him out there. Now the car's pretty fast. The better thing for Robbie gets, a little faster the longer the run goes. So that's the key for him, the long runs.
We haven't had very many of those yet today. Caution flags have kept the action short here today at Michigan in little 15 and 20 lap bursts of racing. Now we've got 22 laps to go. Robbie Gordon, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Oh, how about 4 wide?
That was good.
That was good. Watch Casey Kane drive up on the outside of Jason Leffler. Or if he knows he doesn't have a radio, he wouldn't do that if he did.
Yeah. Boy, Casey Kane was loose that last 2, 1 and 2 there. Wow.
I guess Casey can't hear the spotter because he just can't talk to him.
Right, Leffler there, yeah. Yeah, he just can't transmit, but he's receiving okay.
25. Bobby Hamilton Jr. gets a little loose. 1 and 2.
It appears the race is from 4th on back as Kyle Busch has gotten away from Mark Martin. This is 4th. Casey Mears in the 1. Casey Kane in the 38. Robbie Gordon in the 55. And a bunch right behind him hoping to join in.
He's got the lead car in front of him, so that may just help him a little bit. Pull a little bit of a draft by Casey Kane. He's pulled in front of that 38 car Casey Kane close a bunch of times today.
Sure has.
Jason Leffler in the 00 there in the mix. Who's that? Rusty Wallace.
How about that?
Trying to turn down. Okay, let's make a change here. I was going to the bottom. I'll go to the middle, maybe the top.
Figured out when I get down to turn 3.
Little wiggle on Rusty's car. These guys are driving about as hard as they can drive right now.
David Stremme with the triple lane change. Stremme in the 32 back at 11th spot. Great racing, just not for the lead.
Yeah, the battle for the lead is...
hang on, Jason. Good save.
I think maybe Biffle might have gotten in the back of Jason Keller.
22 car. Here comes Mike Wallace, Justin Labonte, 4 and 44. Try to take advantage of the bobble.
I don't know. Keller's car looks pretty loose.
And he's going to lose. Let's see, he was 9th last time by. And he's going to be 13th now. And maybe later.
He's still trying to catch his breath.
Something up with the 25 car, Marty.
Alan, he made contact running in the top 10 with those guys you were mentioning it earlier. You see the right rear damage for Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car. They might have a tire going down. Can't really see it right now, but when he goes by in a moment, you'll see the right rear fender damage, knock the bumper cover off the back, kind of flapping in the wind. They may have a right rear going down as well.
Yeah, that car got awfully loose that one time we were watching him there, Marty, so keep an eye on that.
Wow, look at this. Jason Leffler up to 6th. Trying to hold off Robbie Gordon and Rusty Wallace. Leffler as far back as 32nd at one point in the race.
Whoa, hang on. Is that Robbie?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mike Bliss in the 20 car joining in. Bliss in the 9th spot. Bliss had played a little track position strategy earlier back at lap 44, got him up to 5th. Then he was shuffled back on the older tires, and now he's trying to pick his way back through a little bit. Marty?
You should hear the adjustments they made on one stop, Alan. They took 2 spring rubbers out of the spring, 3 rounds of track bar, and 3 rounds of wedge on one stop. He was extremely loose. They got the car a little tight for Mike, finally. Car's been actually not so bad since then. A little bit better for the guy. And they've had a great run lately. Team that's been on kind of a roll trying to win the Busch Series championship.
Mike Bliss starting the day pretty good bit back, 9th place in the championship standings. And you see his rankings in the race. He was as far back as 32nd.
I think most everyone has been except Kyle Busch, the scrub.
So 3 laps to go, and no challenge for the top spot. It's just a matter of whether it runs to the finish for Kyle Busch or not, and that's not because of fuel mileage, because he's got plenty of that to get him to the checkered flag. And this is a race for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th spots.
Biffle's trying to take the spot away from Mike Bliss and go after Robbie Gordon. I think Robbie's gotten everything he could get out of that set of tires right now.
Biffle running as high as 3rd and 2nd earlier, and had a penalty and had to go all the way back to the tail end of the longest line when a tire got away from the crew on their last pit stop.
He's able to get by Robbie Gordon.
And a little break the draft move there. So white flag coming up. As Kyle Busch begins the final lap of this race, we check on another scramble for position. There's Kyle at the white flag. And this would be for 5th place. Casey Kane, Rusty Wallace, and Jason Leffler. 38, 66, and 00.
Well, that's got back in line.
What a performance today by Kyle Busch as Wallace tries Kane for 5th. Kyle Busch will have led 87 of the 125 laps in this race, and he held off the best in the business to get it done.
And I got to say hello to the folks in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, for the catch man, Dave Carreri.
Way to go, boys. That's all what it's about. Right there. Good job. Way to do it.
2nd straight NASCAR Busch Series win for Kyle Busch, and his 5th of 2004, as he wins today here at Michigan International Speedway.
Kyle Busch scores the 5th win of the 2004 season for the 5 team. And he gets drenched. A win on the track, and the crew guys a victory with the beverage. What kind of statement does that send the competition to win in such a dominating way?
I can't see right now. Wish I could see the win. No, competition was great today. Everybody raced me clean the way that they needed to, and I just got to thank all my competitors. They're great. Of course, Lowe's, Gladiator Garage Works, Shop Vac. Hell, Briggs and Stratton, we're still working on that one, man.
But what about the month of July to come back with back-to-back wins?
It's just awesome. It gives testament to these teams. I mean, they're an awesome team, and I just can't say enough about them. They're great. And, I got to say this once again for Papa Joe. We've heavy in our hearts. And Rick, of course, you're watching on TV. Wish we were here. But we got it done again, and we're here at Michigan, a big 2-mile racetrack. And you know what? On the Cup side, Hendrick Motorsports has had a couple engine failures. That ain't nothing. Parts fail sometimes. Hendrick Motorsports has great horsepower, and that's what it's all about, HP.
Now, Kyle, what about the final caution when you looked in your mirror and you saw the Busch Series all-time leader sitting right off your deck lid, going to pressure you for the win?
Mark Martin's a great competitor, always will be, always has been. And, so is everybody else out there. And we were just able to hold them off today, all of them. And, I guess Truex finished 3rd or whatever, so good run for him and his team as well.
Check how they ran today. In the Cabela's 250, it is Kyle Busch with his 5th win of the year. Championship leader with a 3rd place finish. Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin back to the front. They did get there.
Oh, Mark Martin almost made it all the way to the front. Just Kyle Busch had such a dominant car, he couldn't get the victory.
Top 10 for Mike Wallace. And a good day for David Stremme, who came back for an 11th place finish. 31 finished on the lead lap. Still looking at lead lap finishers.
Man, oh man.
Michael Waltrip after the late pit stop for the adjustment, and Kevin Harvick back there. And now the drivers who had troubles and failed to finish this race. Matt Kenseth taken out in the early crash.
This copyrighted television.